Kitchen. My name is Elle Simone. I'm from America's Test Kitchen, where I am TV talent, food stylist, and inclusion leader, also executive editor. Today, I have the ultimate pleasure of cooking some recipes from our amazing book called Foolproof Fish. I guess I don't need to get too close. You can see it from here. Foolproof Fish is a really awesome book. It's one of the newer books from America's Test Kitchen. And you know what foolproof means? That means anyone can do it. You can do it. Your cousin can do it. Your little niece, nephew can do it with supervision. It's a pretty awesome book. And not only is it just a book that is awesome to cook from, it's also a great book to learn from. It talks a lot about different fish applications. I mean, from frying to poaching to seafood burgers to chowdas, which is very popular here in New England. And today I'm actually going to give away. I'm giving one away. I'm very excited to give this book away. And all I need for you to do to get this book, to become eligible to receive this book, is just to come in the comments. Jeanette, you could possibly win it today. You absolutely do need to get it. All you need to do is leave in the comments your favorite way to cook fish, any fish, because this book is not just about salmon. This book is about how to cook all fish. I mean, from Arctic char to calamari, right? You can't lose. All right, so we don't have a very long recipe today, so I want to give you a bit of information. First and foremost, I want to thank Poach Arctic for sending me over some beautiful salmon to work with today. Look at this. Let me show you. Look at this beauty. Look at that. Look at that. If this does not inspire you to want to cook, I don't know what will. I don't know what will. So I want to give you a little bit of information about it. So Poach is a third generation family-owned business in Norway. It is sustainably raised Atlantic salmon, which is very important to know. I'm very big about sustainability with fish. It's something that I really got into in New England. I love to know where my food comes from, as should you. You should want to know the source of your food. In addition to that, this beautiful fish is available at Whole Foods. I went to Whole Foods today to shop for some other things, and I was very excited to see Poach Arctic's fish there. And do you know that if you ask your fish butcher at any grocery store where your fish comes from, they're supposed to tell you? So that's some good information. Just recently, they became certified by the American Heart Association's Heart Check Food Certification Program. So this fish is healthy for you. Anything they send to you is going to be very healthy. And finally, just so you know, just one 3.5-ounce serving, which is a little bit more than what I'm cooking today. I'm actually cooking 4 6-ounce servings of salmon, but just one 3.5-ounce serving of Poach's Arctic salmon has over 2,000 milligrams of omega-3s, exceeding the weekly recommended goal. So like just the dinner today is going to be one of the healthiest dinners you could cook for your family, right? So with all those important facts in mind, let's get started making perfect poached salmon. I'm going to put this salmon away. Just one second. Okay, so some other really important information I thought you might want to know is how to prepare salmon, right? So there are a couple of things I like to let people know. Anytime you want to make fish, when you go to your fish butcher in your grocery store, you can usually get the fish ready to go. That means the bones are out, the skin is off, they're cut to a certain portion for you, and that's easy and that's perfect, and it's a great way to go if you're really trying to get dinner on the table pretty quickly. If that is not the case, and you're like me and you really like to kind of like get your hands into your meal, like really be a part of the process from start to finish, you can get a side of salmon and you can debone it yourself. What you'll need to do that are these amazing, these are called fish tweezers. You see, they kind of look like the tweezers you use for your eyebrows, but like twice as big, 3 times as big, but they're strong, they're sturdy, they have a grasp, and you can pull the bones out. I already did this for the sake of time. I've already deboned our fish, but there is also some instruction in Foolproof Fish on how to debone your fish. Worry not. It's in the book. Also, when you're having fish, you want to take the skin off sometimes if you choose. This particular recipe, poached salmon, does call for the salmon to be to have the skin removed. So you will need like a very sharp knife, right? A boning knife is really good. This is a small, like a larger paring knife, kind of between paring and boning in size reference. It's very sharp. This foolproof fish also has an instructional on how to take the skin off of salmon or any fish. No worries. Again, if you feel nervous about that, you can have your fish butcher do it for you at the grocery store, or you can buy your fish already prepared. I like to use fish for different applications. You see how much salmon I have? I'm going to be making it in a myriad of ways. So some might be skin on, some might be skin off. Either way, foolproof fish will walk you through every step. Worry not. Another thing that you'll need to execute this recipe is a thermometer. I have our America's Test Kitchen's winning Thermopin. This is what we use in the kitchen. This is also what I like to use at home. It's one of my favorites. You'll need this because we're going to have to cook our fish to a certain temperature. So you'll need to know what temperature that is. You can use whatever thermometer you have, but this is the winning Thermopin. I love it. I can't live without it. So I'm going to keep it over here for when it's time to go. You also need a timer, right? Because one of the tricks of the trade to cooking fish is knowing just how long to cook it, not to overcook it. And you need a timer so that you can keep your eye on that, right? So I have a little timer here. This isn't our winning timer, but this is the timer from my food styling kit. So have a timer on hand. If you, for some reason, don't have a timer, you can use your trusty smartphone. One of the apps I like to use is called Up Down Timer. Up Down Timer has about 7 timers on it. So it's great if you're cooking more than one thing and you need to time them all to come out at the same time. Or if you're like me and you're a food stylist and you're doing multiple tasks and you need to be reminded of what needs to be done at a certain time, Up Down Timer is one of my favorite apps to use. Otherwise, I just use the trusty timer on my phone, and that works just fine. The only reason I don't like to use my phone is because my hands are messy from food. I don't really want to touch my phone, right? So that's just really the safe way. Having a little timer on here would be great. This actually has a little magnet on the back, and you can put it anywhere, not here, but anywhere else. All right, so let's get started. So I have here a 12-inch skillet, and you're gonna need a lid that covers tightly on your skillet, right? You can't see my cooking, but I'm gonna show you what I'm doing as I go, just so you know. All right, so this recipe calls for 1 lemon, sliced very thin. And I'm just gonna start by lining my pan. I'm gonna give you, right? Lining my pan with the lemon. And I love citrus profiles with fish. It's pretty amazing. It's one of my favorites. All right, so I have that like so. Also, or as my Tabitha says, like that, like so. I love the Tabitha. Hey, Miss Tabitha, if you're watching, girl. You need 4 sprigs of parsley. That was 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So we got that all in there looking nice like that. Now the lemon not only is going to add some great flavor to the fish, but it also is going to regulate the temperature at the bottom of the fish so it doesn't overcook from the bottom, right? I also have 1 shallot that I've sliced thin, and this is going to go on top. And I'll give you a little bird's eye view once I have everything in the pan. Let's see. Let me see who else is cooking along. We have people joining in. Oh, Cassandra's here. Hi, Cassandra. Who else? Oh, Darlene, my cousins are here. Hi, Joe. I'm so glad y'all are watching. Joe is from America's Test Kitchen. He works on the books team. He helped develop this amazing book, Foolproof Fish. All right. So I have the shallots down. I mean, and already we're building a really amazing flavor profile here. All right. All of our shallots are in. There we go. It's looking great. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, I have already taken the skin off of this fish. I've already cut these fillets. They've already been deboned, so they look great. These are cut to about, these are 6 ounces. And you can do these 6 to 8 ounces. And they shouldn't be too much more than an inch thick, right? That helps for even cooking. These look really great. I'm just gonna get a paper towel and dry them off. Just one for later. So I'm just gonna pat them dry with a paper towel. And I have a little salt and pepper. I just sprinkle with salt and pepper like that, like that. This is about 1/4 teaspoon of salt, so it's not a whole lot. Let me get the rest out of here, like that, like that. Perfect. All right, and I have 1/8 teaspoon of pepper. And I'm just making sure I'm seasoning every fillet. Now, one of the most interesting things about poaching fish is that it's like really one of the best ways to cook fish, in my opinion. I think it might be popular opinion, and that's because this method really preserves the taste of the fish. Like, it doesn't matter what fish you're making. If you're poaching, it's such a gentle cooking method that it doesn't compromise the flavor of the fish. Like, salmon will have its original flavor. Any bass, any other fish you're using will do really well in poaching. It just really helps to preserve that original flavor. The other parts of this ingredients for poaching, obviously, are the liquids. And we have 1/2 cup of dry white wine and 1/2 cup of water. This 1/2 cup of white wine is a little bit more than what we normally use because if you remember anything about high school science, you'll know that alcohol lowers the boiling point of water, right? So it will make more steam but create less heat, right? Because the whole secret to poaching is that you want it to cook slow, but not like slow and low, because then the fish will overcook and not too well. It won't. It'll cook and it'll be a little rubbery, and you don't want to go too fast because then it'll be dry and it'll be thick, and you don't really like that. You want it to have a nice texture that happens from steam, right? Oh, thanks, Jeanette. I have to scroll up myself to get all of this, all your good comments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wine. I'm going to go into my pan. I'm not going to tilt it, right? So we're creating a beautiful poaching liquid. And you can only imagine what the lemon and the shallots and the parsley are going to add to this, right? So I'm going to put my fish in on top of the lemons. All right, I'm going to rearrange things so I can put them all side by side. All right. Okay, so let me give you a little view. Can you see? Can you see? Can you see? Nice. So again, having very even size pieces. Again, these are 6 ounces. You can do 6 to 8 ounces. You don't want them to be too much more than about an inch and a half. Like an inch is probably just right. And now that we have it in the poaching liquid, I'm going to turn my flame up to medium high. Right? Because what you want to happen is you want this poaching liquid to have a limit. You want it to reach a simmer, which will take a few minutes. It might take about 8 minutes or so. So while that's doing that, we're going to let it come to a simmer. Once it's at a simmer, then we'll move on to next steps. But in the meantime, let's see, do we have any questions? We got a little bit of cooking time on this. Once we actually get it to simmer and we cover it, it's going to take about 16 minutes. So this is a great time for you to ask any questions to Quare about fish. It's a great time to ask me any questions about America's Test Kitchen. about shopping, about foolproof fish. I'm here to answer any questions. I think I might have some coming through. Let me see. My Instagram. Well, let me tell you a little bit about our testing process at America's Test Kitchen, how we come to create a book. We have a team of test cooks in our kitchen. We have over 100 test cooks, and they spend a lot of time researching and cooking and figuring out how to make recipes that never fail. We say that we make all the mistakes so that you don't have to. And that's how we can claim our fame of saying we make a foolproof fish book. So this book has some amazing regional recipes. We have some New England inspired lobster and corn chowder. We have Brazilian shrimp and fish stew, moqueca, which is one of my favorite dishes. The next time I come back and cook with Foray, I'm actually going to make sweet and sour salmon with bok choy, and I'm very excited about that. This book has just some amazing recipes, and so anyway, the test cooks come together with their editors, their executive editors, and they decide what recipes they would like to make it into a book. So proposals are made. Cooks propose recipes. Their editor approves them, and then they get to the testing process. And some recipes can take up to weeks. Some recipes can take months to actually develop. But these books are really inspired by the way that the cooks eat at home. A lot of them are some of our restaurant favorites that we've, redeveloped for the home cook so that you can be successful every time. And another thing I really like about foolproof fish is that it kind of takes like the intimidation factor out of cooking fish. I think a lot of people don't trust themselves with applications other than like frying, which is good. Frying fish is great, but there's so many other ways you can really enjoy fish. And I think that this book really explores that. So I'm excited to give one away. I think you guys should tell me your favorite way to make fish so that I can choose who's going to get this book. But I see that Heather has a question. She says, what kind of pan should we use to use this poaching method? Is there a certain size or type of pan that's recommended? Well, I'm using a nonstick pan. The size is really what matters most here. It has to be at least 12-inch pan, right, to cook this much fish. Already our liquid is simmering. I don't know if you can hear it. Do we have like audio cam for food? And I can see that it's cooking. The sides of the fish are becoming opaque. I'll give it a little peek. Can you see a little opaqueness not happening? You can't see it yet. But it has come to a simmer. So I'm going to cover it tightly and turn the heat down to low, right? So if you're making Arctic char or salmon like I am, you want this fish to reach 125 degrees for medium rare. That's the goal, right? So that's why I have my trusty thermopin here to make sure we meet that goal. And that will take about 11 to 16 minutes. So let's see. I always loved ATK. It's so fun to watch the process and cut to their great results. Love the equipment reviews too. Karen, I love the equipment reviews too. I wish I could say that every piece of equipment in my kitchen is 100% ATK approved, but I'm almost there. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm getting really close. Let's see. Frozen or fresh fish for poaching? Well, there's a such thing as frozen fresh, right? Usually when fishing occurs on a fishing boat, when it comes out of the water, flash freeze process happens, and that's to make sure that it is frozen as freshly as possible. I would say I prefer wild salmon. That's my preference. And often you're going to get it frozen. You can go to your fish counter and you can get it not frozen if you're going to cook immediately. But I prefer fresh. But they do freezing almost immediately off the boat to preserve that freshness, so that when it's thawed, like it's almost as good as it was as soon as it came out of the water onto the boat. Let's see, the salmon. Caroline says, hi, Elle. Yum, the salmon looks so good. I'm excited to learn more, taking notes. I've never poached salmon. I've been cooking a lot more in quarantine for sure. Caroline, I have been cooking more in quarantine than I probably have ever imagined, so I can relate. And I too am excited about this. I'm gonna turn my heat down. I have a pretty powerful stove, so I really have to watch it. But it's covered tightly. I can already smell the lemon and the shallots. I'm so excited. I really like that you don't have to like keep basting and basting to get good results. Let's see. What have you all been cooking in quarantine? Share some recipes with me. I would really love to hear what you all are doing. Darlena says, my favorite way to cook salmon is to date is baked with a little salt, pepper, garlic, vegan butter, and lemon. Delish. But I'm sure what Elle is doing will be also much better. I like a nice salmon roasted in the oven just as much as the next person. In fact, that's what I had the other day. But I do like to sear my salmon. I'd like to put on a nice rub. I have some great rubs. And I like to just put a little rub on it, sear it a little on the top, and then go right in the oven. So I can just do other things. You know, I need some time to get my sides together. So having it in the oven is quite convenient. Let's see, what else? So, well, we can talk a little bit more about the book, the recipe writing and books. So anyway, I think I left off with the cooks getting the green light from their editors on which recipes they can start to work on. And so that's usually how it goes. And after a few months of testing recipes, you know, they come up with some very interesting facts about each and every recipe. And this, we call this section, why this recipe works. I love that part. Those are kind of like the hardcore facts that most people want to know. Like, why does this work this way? Why did we do it this way? How did you come to that conclusion, basically? And usually it's the trial and error. We eat a lot of everything before we get to the right thing, you know, and that's probably the most exciting part about my job at America's Test Kitchen. I get to watch recipes develop. I get to see them go from very bare bones ideas to masterpieces, right? All right, so I'm already almost 6 minutes in. I've been watching my stove clock, but I'm going to set my timer for 6 minutes just because I'm talking and I don't want to lose track of time. And we're on low. I'm just going to take a little peek. You shouldn't have to peek. It's actually doing fine, but they're looking beautiful. I can't wait to show you. Yeah, so the why this recipe works part is really what draws me so much to a recipe. You know, it tells you about like the mistakes a little bit, but mostly, you know, the successes and how we got here. Like for instance, with this poached salmon, they learn by increasing the ratio of alcohol to water. It makes steam happen. Without making too much boiling happen, if that makes sense to you guys, right? And so they kind of explain it. And it's one thing when you're cooking a recipe and you know that it will taste good, but it's another thing when you can find the logic in why it worked, how it worked, you know, that's pretty great. So Jeanette says she started making bread. Maybe she'll use a leftover poached salmon to make a fancy sandwich. You could actually use this poached salmon to make a salmon salad. You could use this poached salmon to maybe make a salmon burger. You can do a lot with this poached salmon. It really actually it's just multifaceted. Joe Getter wants to know, my friend Joe says, how are you so good at cooking and talking to the camera, answering questions, making lively, you guys are on fire, making lively conversation and generally being awesome. Well, Joe, I've had 4 years of experience at America's Test Kitchen, learning how to talk to the camera. I still don't feel like I'm like the best at it, but I really just like talking to people. I like talking about food. I really like learning about food. And I like to teach people about food. Like as I learn, you ever learn something, you're like, guess what I found out? Let me tell you what I learned today. It's like being in school. I come home from work and I'm with my friends like, let me tell you what I learned about today. You know, your mom used to ask you, what'd you learn in school today? And I'm like, I learned how to poach salmon. I learned how to not poach salmon, right? So thanks, Joe. Thank you for thinking I'm awesome. I think you're awesome too. You have some great recipes in this book. Denise says, I enjoy it baked in a foil packet. Oh, this is how you like your salmon, Denise. Un papillote. I love that. That was my favorite thing to learn in culinary school. Simply with olive oil, salt, garlic, a squeeze of lemon. Favorite flavor has been a miso marinade that was sweet and savory. Oh, Denise, so you should be sure to come back for our next demo, which is going to be sweet and sour salmon with bok choy, which is my favorite. Denise, you know I love anything that has Asian inspired flavor profiles. Is one of my favorite ways to eat. How about I make the salmon, you bring the kimchi, and we'll distance dinner from porch to car. How about that? Right? Karen says, I don't eat meat, so I've been cooking a lot of fish. Recently made a farmed Spanish turbot with, I have to scroll down, sorry guys, with a brown butter cured black olive shallot, white wine sauce, served with jasmine rice, roasted Brussels sprouts, nice white wine, great meal. Karen, dang girl, I'm coming over. We're just gonna, let's just pack up this whole operation and go to Karen's house. Because she knows how to do it. All right, we got 2 minutes left on this salmon. 2 minutes. All right, get my fish spat. Oh, you need a fish spat, or you can use any spat. I don't have a rubber fish spat, so I'm going to be super gentle in my nonstick skillet because I don't want to touch it. But it's good to have a fish spat, and I just realized I don't have a platter to put this food on. Huh. All right. I'm going to use this 1 minute, 47 seconds to grab a platter. Stand by. Okay, we're ready. Here we go. All right. All right, so we got 1 minute left. I'm going to take this 1 second to thank Poach for sending me this amazing merch. When I have somewhere to go outside of quarantine, we're off of quarantine punishment, I'm going to wear this amazing merch. Super nice. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here cooking your beautiful fish and making recipes from America's Test Kitchen's foolproof fish. For anybody who's coming in late, I'm Elle Simone from America's Test Kitchen. Today we're making perfect poached salmon. Perfect. We're 34 seconds away from our salmon being done. I'm gonna put my book to the side. I have my trusty Thermapen ready so that when we take the lid off, we're gonna make sure we reach temp. It's looking pretty amazing. I'm kind of excited to show you. I'm kind of excited. We're getting so close. How many of y'all are cooking along? I heard a lot of people tell me they were going to get their recipes. If you're cooking along, send me a heart. Click a heart. Ooh. All right. It's ready to go. All right. I wish it was the smell-o-vision, sound-o-vision. I wish I had it. It smells so good. Let me see if I can give you a nice look at that. It's beautiful, opaque on the sides and on the top. Now's the real test. I'm gonna just put my thermometer in the thickest part of this fish. Definitely ready. Turning it off. All right. Put this to the side. All right, so when your salmon is ready, you're gonna take out the lemon and the fish, okay? And you can discard this poaching liquid if you like. I heard that some people make a little vinaigrette from it. That's your prerogative. Look at that. It's evenly cooked. It's nice and tender. I don't want to move it around too much because it's so tender. I don't want it to break. All right. I'm gonna do a little food styling for y'all. Oh, it's so beautiful. I can't wait to taste it. This is my dinner, by the way. So I hope you all are also thinking about having this for dinner tonight. It was so easy. It basically took 16 minutes. I promise you the prep itself took all of 15 minutes also. If that. I might be giving it too much time. It was so easy. And it's also really easy when you have an amazing piece of fish to work with, you know? All right. Here we have perfectly poached salmon from America's Test Kitchen's Foolproof Fish Book. I'm so glad you all wanted to come and cook with me in my home. I'm cooking every day, and it's always nice when I can cook with friends. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's see, do we have any more questions? Jennifer wants to know, she says, Chef, wondering how you feel about the role of the water farmer. Have you done much work with them at ATK? Honestly, Jennifer, we do not do work with the water farmer there. We use local fish companies here in Massachusetts. We are very much aware by using sustainable companies that have sustainable practices. I'm aware of that, but I do not know much about water farmers, I have to say. But I will look into it because it would be of interest to know a little bit more about that. Thank you, Heather. Thank you for saying that my fish is so pretty. What did I do with the fish skin? I discarded the fish skin for this particular piece, but I did not take the skin off all of the other fish. I do like a little crispy skin sometimes when I'm having a fish. I also like to use the fish and dry them out and make like fish chips. Like, I don't believe in wasting really any part of the fish, to be perfectly honest. Let's see. All right, so I have a few more minutes. I'll take a couple more questions. If you have any questions about the book, if you have any questions for me about being at America's Test Kitchen, I'm more than happy to answer. You can also just leave some questions in the comment, and I will definitely circle back, answer all your questions. Thank you all for coming personally, because I'm very happy that you're here. I'm happy to be cooking with you and for you. You can follow us at America's Test Kitchen here on Facebook. On Instagram, you can find us at Test Kitchen. On Twitter, we're also at Test Kitchen, and you can always go on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram and tell them that you enjoyed this demo. You can take a screenshot. You can take a screenshot and you can Photoshop yourself in, and I'll do this. Wait, let me do this. All right, so did you get the screenshot? So you Photoshop yourself here, and then you can post it to Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, and you can say that you cooked with me, and then I'll be like, I cooked with them, and then we will have had a good time. Again, thank you so much for spending time with me. We're super grateful to our friends at Quarry for providing some beautiful salmon for us to work with today. Again, you can find Quarry's product at Whole Foods. If you don't have a Whole Foods nearby, send a message over here in the comments and let them know that you need to know where you can find their products, and they'll be happy to direct you. That's all for me. I'm hungry, so I gotta go. I'm gonna eat this fish. Thanks again for cooking with me. We'll be doing another video very, very soon. I'll let you know when that's happening so that you don't miss it. I hope you all have a great night. Stay safe, stay in the house, and be well. And I'll see you soon. Peace.